Hi everyone, I'm John van der Vecht and I'm joined by my socially distanced colleague Deirdre McCallum, and we're from AgriRisk, now part of Gallagher. Hopefully most of you will recognise the AgriRisk name, as we've been advising growers on crop and farm insurance in the cotton growing regions for the last 30 years.
We're here today to introduce weather index products and how they can assist you and your clients manage weather risks. We will talk briefly about weather risk in the agri sector and then go into a little more detail about the types of products that are available now and those that are in the pipeline for you and your clients.
There is no surprise that the agri sector in Australia is heavily exposed to weather risk, as Australian farmers operate in one of the riskiest environments on earth, where weather risks often have the greatest impact on crop production and therefore revenue. For example, some 85% of yield variability in dryland broadacre cropping is due to moisture stress, either insufficient or excessive rainfall. Climate change is of course heightening the weather risk, and we are already seeing an increase in both the frequency and severity of weather extremes.
Unfortunately, the traditional insurance market has largely failed to manage weather risk. Insurers have found it difficult to move beyond fire and hail cover, leaving growers of many crop types and in many regions unable to insure key weather risks. For example, hail on horticultural crops in Stanthorpe or Batlow is simply not available, and vegetable ground crops remain uninsurable. Multi-peril crop insurance offered some hope that the insurers might expand the range of insurable perils, but after 6 loss-making years, most have withdrawn from the market. We believe that weather index products now provide an opportunity to fill some of those gaps. As consultants, you already help your clients manage their production risks, which includes weather risk, be that advising on crop variety suited to different growing regions or the best planting times to avoid frost or rainfall at harvest. So today we are providing you with some detail on index products, as growers will probably start to hear more of them and will no doubt seek your advice.
So what are index products? In simple terms, they are financial tools that respond when an external trigger is met, rather than when a physical loss is incurred, and settlement is based on a pre-agreed amount regardless of that financial loss. As index products don't conform to the principle of indemnity, which underpins insurance, there has been some conjecture regarding whether index products are insurance or derivatives. This classification as insurance or derivatives is important, as it determines who can issue and who can provide advice on the products.
Weather index products are the most common index products, and as the name suggests, they cover weather perils that are measured at official Met stations such as the Bureau of Met here in Australia. The most common indexes relate to temperature and rainfall, but other recorded weather perils are also available. Obviously, the biggest issue in using the Bureau of Met recording station as the measurement point is basis risk. This is the risk that what is recorded on farm is different to what is recorded at the Bureau of Met station. There are ways to minimise this risk, but basis risk cannot be avoided with index products. Unlike crop insurance, where you must wait 48 hours for cover to incept, index products need to be purchased at least a month before the risk period. On top of that, the premium needs to be paid 7 to 14 days prior to the risk period. Compared to traditional hail and fire insurance, index covers are not cheap, but the grower is looking to manage risks that are far more frequent than hail, and as we always remind them, the cover may not be cheap, but nor is losing half your production.
So what is happening in Australia? The energy and mining sectors have been utilising index products in derivative form for many years, purchasing them via appropriately licensed commodity houses and banks. In the ag sector, you may have heard of Celsius Pro, who have been targeting cotton growers with weather derivatives for the last few years. In the last 6 months, 3 insurers have entered the market offering weather index products as insurance. This will significantly impact the availability of these products, as insurance intermediaries will now be able to provide advice on them. Interestingly, one of the specialist crop insurers, Crop Risk Underwriting, is about to launch index insurance products specifically designed for the ag sector. They will initially address the key risks of rainfall, insufficient or excessive, and also temperature, too hot or too cold. The key advantage of CRU's entry into the market is that they plan to give growers access to their online system to generate their own premium indications. The beauty of this is that the growers can change the key coverage parameters, which will remove the toing and froing associated with the standard application and quotation process. We will now demonstrate this to you.
Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate the CRU system. Now we've already set up the client and now we can choose the type of weather risk. In this case, I'm looking to cover the excessive rainfall on my cotton crop around picking time, so an excess rainfall contract. Now on the next screen, you'll see that I've already located the farm, which is approximately 40 kilometres west of Moree, by placing the tractor in the centre of the crop fields. You can also see the two red symbols, which are the Bureau of Met Weather stations. The surrounding grey symbols are the centre points of grids, which are approximately 5 kilometres by 5 kilometres. Now to generate the premium indication, I need to select the measurement point, and I can use either the Bureau of Met stations or the grid reference, whichever I feel better reflects the rainfall on farm. So usually I would start with the closest grid to the farmed area, so I select that now. Next I need to select the risk period, so I'm selecting the period just prior to picking when the crop is exposed to rainfall. So I'm going to pick the 25th of June and run that until the 23rd of July. Now I need to select the rainfall threshold, so there are pre-populated ones I can choose, or I can pick my own, which I'm going to use 60 millimetres. Now you'll see the graph on the right hand side shows me the number of times that the 60 millimetres has been exceeded since the mid-1950s, so approximately 11 times I think that is. So then on the next screen, I need to pick the amount of cover I want. Now, I've worked out that downgrade has averaged about $50 a bale, and I hope to produce 4,000 bales. So I have a potential loss of $200,000 that I want to protect. So I type in 200,000. Now you see another graph has popped up on the screen, and this is showing me the number of times that I would have been paid the $200,000 since the mid-1950s. And finally, on the last screen, the premium estimate is calculated. So you'll see that for this particular contract, the premium's just over $41,000. Now, if that's more premium than what I wanted to spend, I can do a quick copy and compare, and I can change the different parameters. So I could change the time period and make it smaller. I could change the rainfall thresholds. I could change the measurement point as well and maybe use another grid on farm, or I could use the Bureau of Met station. But in this case, I'm going to change the payout amount to $100,000 on the basis that the whole crop is not always affected by downgrade. And then I recalculate, and you'll see very quickly that a new premium has come up of just over $20,000. So please be aware that I'm using a test system here, so it's generating dummy premiums. So I hope you can see the benefit of the system and how easy it is to quickly assess if weather index insurance will help your clients in managing key weather risks.
For broadacre and cotton clients, we see opportunity for covers designed to protect insufficient pre-season rain to get the crop up and away, insufficient seasonal rain to underpin yield, frost, which can have a significant impact on yield, excessive rainfall at harvest, impacting both yield and quality.
So we appreciate that these initial offerings are simplistic and know that it might be hard for growers to convert millimetres or degrees to yield and then revenue loss, but this will change in the next 12 to 24 months when we will see a shift to yield-based index products. There is a lot of activity overseas where insurers are using yield-based indexes, which can be utilised by both the grower and those down the supply chain whose revenue is reliant on farm production. And of course, that could include crop consultants. So thanks for your time. We hope you found that of interest, and of course, please contact us if you have any questions. Thanks again.